Good morning, everyone. I want to start with a simple question. What if I told you that the way you talk to yourself determines everything? Your confidence, your actions, even your success. Sounds obvious, right? But here's the real challenge. Most of us are our own worst critics. We say things to ourselves that we would never say to a friend, and then we wonder why we struggle to stay motivated, why we feel stuck. But what if, for just 3 days, you changed the way you spoke to yourself? What if, instead of doubt, you fed your mind belief? Instead of self-criticism, you gave yourself encouragement. Science backs it, psychology proves it, but more importantly, real people like you and me, have transformed their lives just by changing this one habit. So today, I'm going to challenge you. Talk to yourself differently for just 3 days. And watch what happens. Because the way we speak to ourselves is either our greatest weapon or our biggest enemy. Let's make it our greatest strength. Every thought we have carries energy, and the way we speak to ourselves has a direct impact on how we experience the world. Our internal dialogue is like a script that guides our emotions, decisions, and actions. When we consistently use words of doubt, fear, or negativity, we reinforce limiting beliefs that shape our reality in ways we don't even realize. If someone repeatedly tells themselves, "I'm not good enough," or "I always fail," their mind starts searching for evidence to confirm that belief. They hesitate, second-guess themselves, and eventually their actions align with that narrative. On the other hand, when we shift the way we talk to ourselves, we begin to create a different outcome. Saying, "I am capable," or "I will figure this out," rewires our brain to focus on possibilities rather than limitations. This isn't just motivational fluff, it's backed by science. The brain has a phenomenon called neuroplasticity, which means it can rewire itself based on repeated thought patterns. The more we tell ourselves something, the more our brain builds neural pathways that support that belief. This is why successful people have a different way of speaking to themselves. They don't entertain thoughts of self-doubt for long. Instead of saying, "I'm terrible at this," they reframe it as, "I'm learning, and I'll improve." This small shift changes how they feel, and how they feel influences how they act. Our words are not just descriptions of our reality, they create our reality. The way we talk to ourselves determines how we show up in relationships, careers, and challenges. Every conversation we have in our own mind sets the stage for what's possible in our lives. The question is, what kind of reality are we building with our words? Negative self-talk is the silent force that shapes how we perceive ourselves and the world around us. It often starts subtly, creeping into our minds through thoughts like, "I'm not smart enough," "I always mess things up," or "I don't deserve success." Over time, these statements become ingrained, turning into deeply held beliefs that influence our decisions, actions, and even our body language. Without realizing it, we begin to operate within the limits of the words we repeatedly tell ourselves. Psychologists have found that our internal dialogue directly affects our confidence and performance. When we engage in negative self-talk, our brain releases stress hormones like cortisol, making us more anxious and hesitant. This state of mind reduces our ability to think clearly, solve problems, and take risks. It's a cycle. Self-doubt leads to inaction leads to missed opportunities, and missed opportunities reinforce the belief that we're not capable. The most dangerous part of negative self-talk is how automatic it becomes. Many people don't even recognize they are doing it because these thoughts have been present for years. They feel like absolute truths rather than just passing opinions, but the reality is they are just words. Words we have the power to change. Recognizing this internal dialogue is the first step to breaking free. When we start questioning these limiting beliefs and replacing them with empowering ones, we begin to rewire our brains. The words we choose to speak to ourselves set the tone for how we handle challenges, how we pursue our goals, and how we see our own worth. If we can shift this inner dialogue, even slightly, we open the door to a completely different reality. One where we are no longer held back by the stories we tell ourselves. Our brains are constantly adapting to the information we feed them, and the words we use shape our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. When we engage in negative self-talk, we reinforce neural pathways that make doubt, fear, and insecurity our default responses. However, the good news is that just as the brain can be wired for negativity, it can also be rewired for confidence and resilience. The key lies in consciously choosing better words when we talk to ourselves. Rewiring your brain starts with awareness. Most of us don't even notice the language we use internally because it has become a habit. We say things like, "I always mess up," or "I'm not good at this," without realizing the impact. But if we pause and reframe those statements, saying, "I'm learning" instead of "I'm bad at this," or "I'm improving" instead of "I'm a failure," we send a completely different message to our brain. Over time, this shift changes our thought patterns and strengthens new, more positive neural connections. Neuroscientists have proven that the brain is plastic, meaning it can reorganize itself based on repeated experiences. When we replace self-doubt with affirming, constructive language, we literally train our brain to think differently. This doesn't mean ignoring challenges or pretending problems don't exist. Instead, it means choosing a mindset that focuses on solutions and possibilities rather than limitations. Every time you catch yourself in a cycle of negative self-talk, you have an opportunity to rewire your brain. The more you practice replacing discouraging words with empowering ones, the more natural it becomes. With consistency, your brain starts defaulting to thoughts that uplift and motivate rather than those that hold you back. Changing your language is one of the simplest yet most powerful ways to transform your mindset. The way we talk to ourselves has a profound impact on our self-esteem, confidence, and overall mindset. Yet, many of us speak to ourselves in ways we would never speak to a friend. If someone you care about was struggling, would you say, "You're such a failure," or "You always mess things up"? Of course not. You'd encourage them, remind them of their strengths, and offer support. So why do we talk to ourselves so harshly? Self-talk shapes our identity. When we repeatedly criticize ourselves, our subconscious absorbs those words as truth. Over time, these thoughts become our beliefs, affecting how we show up in life. But imagine if instead we chose to speak to ourselves with the same kindness and encouragement we give to others. What if when we faced setbacks we said, "I'm doing my best," instead of, "I'll never get this right"? What if we replaced "I'm not good enough" with "I am learning and improving every day"? The way we support others in difficult moments should be the same way we support ourselves. Encouraging self-talk isn't about ignoring flaws or avoiding growth. It's about fostering a mindset that allows us to improve without tearing ourselves down. When we uplift ourselves with positive, compassionate words, we build resilience. We become more motivated, more capable, and more willing to take on challenges. Speaking to yourself like a friend doesn't mean avoiding self-improvement. It means making growth sustainable. No one thrives under constant criticism, not even from themselves. The words we choose matter, and if we make it a habit to be kind to ourselves, we create a mindset that leads to confidence, success, and a greater sense of well-being. Our subconscious mind is incredibly powerful, and it believes whatever we tell it. The thoughts we repeat to ourselves, whether positive or negative, become deeply ingrained beliefs. This is why the way we talk to ourselves is so important. It shapes not just how we view ourselves, but how we engage with the world around us. If we constantly tell ourselves, "I'm not good enough," or "I can't do this," we start to believe it. Our subconscious picks up on these messages and works to confirm them, often influencing our actions and decisions without us even realizing it. This process is known as self-fulfilling prophecy. When we speak negatively to ourselves, our actions follow suit. We avoid taking risks, hesitate in decision-making, and settle for less than what we deserve. On the other hand, when we speak words of encouragement, such as "I am capable" or "I will figure this out," we activate a positive cycle. our brain starts searching for ways to make those beliefs true, and our behavior shifts accordingly. We take on challenges with more confidence, we embrace opportunities, and we push past obstacles instead of retreating from them. By choosing to speak to ourselves in a positive, empowering way, we are essentially programming our subconscious mind for success. It's not about blind optimism or ignoring reality. It's about aligning our thoughts and words with the outcomes we desire. The words we use set the foundation for how we feel, act, and ultimately succeed. So when we consciously replace self-doubt with self-empowerment, we give our subconscious the tools it needs to help us achieve our goals. The messages we send to our mind are the seeds for the future we will create. The words we use in our daily self-talk may seem small, but they hold immense power. A slight change in language can create a massive shift in our mindset, confidence, and overall outlook on life. The difference between saying, "I have to," and "I get to," can transform an obligation into an opportunity. The shift from "I'm terrible at this" to "I'm still learning" can turn frustration into motivation. The way we phrase our thoughts determines whether we feel powerless or empowered. Language influences perception. When we say, "This is too hard," we reinforce a mindset of struggle and resistance. But when we shift to, "This is challenging, but I can figure it out," we signal to our brain that we are capable of growth. Our words shape how we interpret situations, and those interpretations influence how we respond. If we repeatedly tell ourselves, "I'm always unlucky," we start noticing only the negatives. If we replace it with, "I create my own opportunities," we begin seeking out possibilities instead of focusing on limitations. Even small shifts in self-talk can impact our emotions and behaviors. Instead of saying, "I'm stuck," try saying, "I'm in the process of finding a solution." Instead of, "I'm a failure," say, "I'm learning from this experience." These changes may seem subtle, but they rewire our brain to focus on progress rather than setbacks. Over time, these small adjustments in language build a mindset of resilience, confidence, and self-belief. The key is to become aware of the words we use and intentionally choose phrases that empower us rather than hold us back. By making small changes in our self-talk, we create a ripple effect that transforms our mindset, our actions, and ultimately, our results. Self-compassion is often mistaken for weakness, but in reality, it is one of the most powerful tools for building resilience and achieving success. The way we treat ourselves during difficult times determines how quickly we bounce back, how we handle setbacks, and whether we stay stuck in self-doubt or move forward with confidence. When we are overly critical of ourselves, we create a cycle of negativity that drains our motivation and keeps us from reaching our full potential. Research in psychology has shown that people who practice self-compassion are more likely to persist in the face of challenges. Instead of beating themselves up for mistakes, they acknowledge their struggles with kindness and understanding. This doesn't mean making excuses or avoiding responsibility. It means treating yourself with the same patience and support that you would offer a close friend. When we say, "I'm human and it's okay to make mistakes," rather than "I always mess things up," we create a space for growth instead of self-destruction. Self-compassion also reduces stress and anxiety. When we engage in negative self-talk, our brain triggers a threat response, releasing cortisol and making it harder to think clearly. But when we speak to ourselves with encouragement, we activate the brain's reward system, increasing motivation and problem-solving abilities. This simple shift in how we talk to ourselves can determine whether we give up or push forward. The strongest people aren't the ones who never struggle. They're the ones who know how to lift themselves up when they do. By replacing self-criticism with self-encouragement, we create a mindset that fuels long-term resilience, allowing us to keep growing, learning, and striving for more, no matter what challenges come our way. Affirmations are often misunderstood. Simply saying positive words without belief or action won't magically change your life. However, when affirmations are paired with intentional effort, they become a powerful tool for rewiring your mindset and driving real change. The key is to use affirmations as fuel for action, not as a substitute for it. Our brain responds to repetition. When we repeatedly tell ourselves, I am confident or I am capable, we start reinforcing those beliefs. But for affirmations to truly work, they must be believable and followed by action. Saying, I am successful while avoiding hard work creates a disconnect in the mind. Instead, saying, I am becoming more successful every day through my efforts aligns with reality and encourages growth. The best affirmations are those that remind us of our potential while pushing us toward the necessary steps to achieve our goals. When used correctly, affirmations shift our focus from limitations to possibilities. Instead of saying, I'm not good at this, we say, I am improving with practice. This simple change influences how we feel and, in turn, how we behave. If we keep telling ourselves, I take action toward my goals, we are more likely to step forward with confidence instead of hesitating in doubt. Our brain begins looking for ways to align with our words, reinforcing habits that support success. Affirmations are not magic spells, they are mental conditioning. They prepare our minds to embrace opportunities, push through challenges, and stay committed to our growth. When paired with consistent effort, they become a powerful force that transforms the way we see ourselves and the way we navigate the world. The way we talk to ourselves influences our mindset, emotions, and actions, but most people don't realize how quickly this can be changed. 3 days of intentional, positive self-talk can begin rewiring thought patterns, creating noticeable shifts in confidence, motivation, and perspective. While long-term change requires consistency, even a short period of conscious effort can break negative cycles and introduce a more empowering way of thinking. For the next 3 days, imagine treating yourself as you would a close friend. When self-doubt arises, replace it with encouragement. Instead of saying, I'm not good enough, say, I am capable and I am improving. Instead of, I always fail, say, every challenge is a learning opportunity. This simple shift begins to disrupt old patterns and create new neural connections in the brain, reinforcing a more supportive and productive inner dialogue. Positive self-talk also changes how we carry ourselves. When we speak to ourselves with belief and encouragement, our posture, tone, and energy reflect it. We approach challenges with a different attitude, and others begin to respond to us differently. What we tell ourselves in private influences how we show up in public. Science backs this up. Studies on neuroplasticity show that the brain adapts quickly to repeated thought patterns. Just 3 days of replacing negative thoughts with empowering ones can activate changes in mood, confidence, and focus. By consistently practicing this, we begin forming a habit that reshapes our mindset for the long term. It may feel unnatural at first, but 3 days of intentional self-talk can serve as proof that our words hold power. The key is to start, to observe the changes, and to realize that we have more control over our mindset than we often believe. The conversation we have with ourselves is the most important one we will ever have. It shapes our confidence, determines our actions, and ultimately defines our future. Every day, our minds are filled with thoughts, some empowering, some destructive. The question is, which ones are we reinforcing? If we constantly tell ourselves, I'm not good enough, or I can't do this, we create a reality where those statements feel true. But when we shift our self-talk to, I am capable, or I will find a way, we open the door to new possibilities. Our words influence our beliefs, and our beliefs drive our behavior. If we believe we are limited, we hesitate, avoid challenges, and shrink ourselves to fit that narrative. But when we speak to ourselves with confidence and determination, we naturally begin taking actions that align with those beliefs. Successful people aren't free from doubt, but they refuse to let negative self-talk control them. They choose words that push them forward rather than hold them back. The future is not built by chance. It is shaped by the way we think, the way we speak, and the way we act. If we want to change our lives, we must first change the way we talk to ourselves. It won't happen overnight, but the small daily habit of replacing self-doubt with self-empowerment creates a long-term shift. Our inner dialogue can be our greatest obstacle or our most powerful tool. The choice is ours. We often look for external factors to change our lives. Better opportunities, more support, fewer obstacles. But the greatest change starts within. The way we talk to ourselves shapes our confidence, our actions, and ultimately, our future. Every word we speak to ourselves is either building us up or tearing us down. If we want to create a life of success, resilience, and growth, we must first change the conversation happening in our own minds. For just 3 days, I challenge you to be intentional about your self-talk. Speak to yourself with encouragement, replace doubt with belief, and shift your inner dialogue from limitation to possibility. Notice how your mindset begins to shift, how your confidence grows, and how you start showing up differently in your life. Science proves it, experience confirms it, and you have the power to put it into action. The truth is, the person you talk to the most is yourself. Make sure that conversation is one that lifts you up, fuels your potential, and leads you toward the future you truly deserve.